right. Beautiful late October day in Colorado. Thought it would be nice to ride the canyon and take a spin on the 2015 Indian Roadmaster. My lowers are still off. It's about 72 degrees, so no need for those lowers right now. Probably put those back on when the temp drops down to around 50 degrees and starts holding around there. Weather doesn't get much sweeter than this. This is just about perfect. Lower to mid-70s. Just beautiful, vivid blue skies today. And it's the weekend, so there's going to be a lot of traffic out. But I thought what we would do is we're going to start with some of these beautiful sort of rolling prairies. We're kind of in a great little gulch, set of canyon gulches right now. We're going to go through some beautiful rolling meadows. We'll head up to kind of that outer periphery, the edge of Evergreen, and then we're going to swing over. We're going to go to the beautiful little mountain town of Kittredge, Colorado, and then kind of save the best for last. About the last 10 minutes of this ride, we'll do that stretch between Kittredge and Red Rocks Park and Amphitheater where the concerts are, and the town of Morrison. That stretch between Red Rocks and Kittredge, that has some really great, pretty rugged mountain canyon walls and lots of twisties, and that's just a really great stretch to ride. You'll probably see some of the warning signs for motorcyclists because there's a lot of tourists, a lot of four-wheelers, a lot of people who have never driven in mountain canyons before. So you definitely, the stretch between Kittredge and Morrison, you've got to be attentive, and you really have to be paying attention to your riding. But anyways, we'll kind of save the best for last, and we'll do that. Let's see, so 2015 Indian Roadmaster, and this video also applies to the 2015 Indian Chieftain. Pretty much everything I say about the Roadmaster, you can take it and use it interchangeably with the 2015 Indian Chieftain. Very similar bikes, pretty much the same thing, minus the lowers and, the full tour pack, the trunk on the back. But I have both, and I ride both. They're extremely similar. The difference being, you're going to have a lot more agility, and you're going to be more flickable and have more agility with the Chieftain. But yeah, so other than that, I really don't have many negatives that I'm going to be throwing out there during this ride. There is one negative, just one thing that is a little bit troublesome for me. I'll share that in a little bit. It might be unique to me. It might be my height. It might be unique to riding in the Rockies and Colorado, just because of our proximity to the sun and proximity to the sun and the high altitude. But there is one thing that happens midday with this Roadmaster and with the Chieftain. I'll get into that in a little bit. That's really the only negative that I have got. So overall, I'm just going to start with the sound system. The stereo is phenomenal. Let me give you a couple of points of reference. I am 6 feet tall. I just hopped on the scale the other day for the first time in a little while, and I am 210 pounds. I like to ride with a Bell Eliminator helmet. I switch back and forth between the stock clear visor, and sometimes I'll put the extra dark, totally black tint visor on because of the intense sunshine that we get here in the Rockies and in Colorado at this high altitude. The sun is extremely intense, so sometimes I'll switch the visor over. But Bell Eliminator helmet, love that old. That one's kind of based off of this one that I'm wearing is based off of the kind of the classic old race car helmets, and I dig the style. It also happens to be a very lightweight helmet, and for touring, I love that. So let's see, points of reference: 6 feet tall, 210 pounds. Bikes that I like, just by way of comparison. Big fan, huge fan of those old classic Honda Valkyries. Those old 1520s, man, that Boxer 6-cylinder, amazing. And I've got a few of those. I've got the 2014 and the 2015 Honda Valkyrie, which is a whole other thing. That one is much more raw, much more edgy. Practically drives itself, pretty much crushed velvet on a guided missile, insane amounts of just raw torque, speed, no slipper clutch. And then I like the Honda F6B, and big fan of the HD Project Rushmore that they started doing around 2014, 2015. I just really feel like Harley got a lot of things right, and they were just doing some great things with the Project Rushmore, and I love my Ultra Limited. So that's just a couple of points of reference. Bikes that I like. I don't really do super sport or just the insane sport bikes anymore. That's just not kind to my body anymore. That was for when I was a much younger man. So as far as the Indian Roadmaster, man, amazing. The stereo system is phenomenal. I ride with this Bell Eliminator helmet, and the audio envelope. So you've got rear speakers, and then of course you've got these front speakers, and God, it's just a perfect pocket that it puts you in. A little bit more noticeable when I don't have my wife on the back, riding in comfort on the back. That audio envelope is a little bit more pronounced, and you're just right in the middle sweet spot. So definitely the stereo system on these Roadmasters is killer. And making these videos for YouTube, this is really the only time that I am ever riding without great tunes. I like to do I loaded up a couple of super high capacity the USB thumb drives, and I've just got, man, I don't know, thousands of songs on the thumb drive. A lot of classic rock, a lot of 80s hair bands. I was young and in my prime when Guns N' Roses and Motley Crue and so many of the great 80s bands were doing their thing. When Metallica was still young, all that stuff. But I'll also I've got whole blocks of Frank Sinatra and some great old Duke Ellington, big band swing, just a lot of salsa, a lot of great Latin percussion. It just depends on what kind of ride I'm doing. So great stereo system. I love that you have that option to load up a thumb drive, do some different music genres. The audio envelope is fantastic. Whether I'm riding at lower or moderate speeds or 75, 85 on the super slab, on the big interstate stretches, it's great. I like the pocket envelope that Indian created with this stereo system. As far as the display, it's really good. Seems to be some sort of adaptive LCD thing or something. Just depending on whether the sunlight is just blasting it directly, and again, we have very intense sunshine. More than 300 days a year of intense sun at high altitude out here. So, really good visibility with the instrumentation. It's got just the right blend of user-friendly, but a little bit of nice classic retro styling. So that's really my thing. I like that a lot. I'm not a super big fan of modern contemporary. I like that retro throwback style on just about everything. In particular, if it was made or designed during the 1930s Art Deco period or during the World War II era, I just feel like everything they did back then was so just, they put a lot of thought into everything. They overbuilt everything, and that's just my thing. I like that retro, vintage, classic kind of styling on everything. So great instrumentation. I think dollar for dollar, the Indian Roadmaster and the Indian Chieftain, especially these early ones, which I like because of the full valence front fender. It's got a little bit more retro styling, so I tend to like the early ones a little bit better. And man, dollar for dollar, I think the Indian Roadmaster on the used market represents an extremely high value for your money. Exact same thing with the earlier Indian Chieftains from this era. Dollar for dollar, you get a lot of bang for your buck. Represents an extremely high value for your money on the used market. Handling and suspension, man. As far as suspension, I put the 2015 Indian Roadmaster at top of class, top of category. There's just no question. It is superb. The ride quality is as good as it gets. It is plush. And, I ride a lot of different kinds of back canyon roads, back highways. They're not all super smooth, but man, this thing just soaks up the bumps, and it is all-day comfort. So definitely top of class, leading the category as far as luxury touring models go. I think the Indian Roadmaster just is pretty unbeatable. Same with the Chieftain. Handling is great. The 2015 Indian Roadmaster does not steer itself the way that a Honda Coldwing or the F6B, it doesn't drive itself the way that any of the Valkyries do. I mean, those, you're practically on cruise control with those. I mean for everything, autopilot. do all the work for you, But the trade-off with that is, what they don't have is this great visceral rumble, that visceral feeling that this amazing Thunderstroke 111 gives you. And man, this engine, it is bulletproof, it is extremely torquey, and the Thunderstroke 111 is just killer. I have no complaints about this bike or this engine, really, other than the one thing I'm going to get into in a little bit, which is mostly just quirky. That's just probably my own personal thing. So ride quality is great. Of course, it's got all the features. It's feature rich. The tire pressure monitoring, which is awfully handy, and the fuel consumption, your trip odometers, just everything, and it's a feature rich motorcycle, which is great. Handling is very good. On the comfort scale, I would really, I just think on the comfort scale, I would have to give the 2015 Indian Roadmaster a 10. It's just pretty unbeatable. The suspension is so amazing. So suspension and comfort are a 10. Handling, I'm going to come in at around a 9. It doesn't drive itself the way that maybe certain Goldwings or Velcros do, but that's okay. Neither does my Ultra Limited, but you get that amazing visceral experience with both bikes, so it's worth it. All right, so just real quickly, there is a thing, my one complaint about the Indian Roadmaster and the Indian Chieftain, this beautiful stretch, this beautiful chrome accent piece here on the top of your gas tank. Now, I don't know that there's anything Indian could have done, but midday, so late morning through early afternoon, when you are out touring and riding, man, it is blinding. The way that this chrome piece reflects at just the right point of your windshield and blinds you, and it's only during midday, I just feel like, wow, it really blasts my eyeballs. And I don't know if that's because I'm, maybe guys who are not 6 feet tall, maybe if you're a shorter rider or if you're a much taller rider, if you're some guy who's 6'4", 6'6", maybe it's not hitting you the way that it's killing me. But man, this chrome piece, it reflects just right on your windshield during midday when you have the windshield up and you're on the highway or traveling at higher speeds. Oh, it is painfully bright, and man, it is blinding. So, I'd be interested to know if any of the viewers, any guys who ride a Roadmaster or a Chieftain have experienced that. But that is really my only significant complaint is this chrome piece will reflect off of your windshield and blind you in such a way that, wow, it's pretty uncomfortable midday. But it can be easily resolved. You could get a tank bag, or you could certainly just get one of the beautiful leather accent pieces to, a quick on, quick off type of piece. Maybe a nice leather accent piece would completely resolve that. And when the windshield's all the way down, it's not as significant. So that's really my only significant complaint about the Roadmaster and the Chieftain. rolling into the great little mountain town of Kittredge, Colorado. Some really great smokehouse barbecue here. Great place to stop. Get yourself some really good sandwich, some really good barbecue, and a cold one. And get yourself refreshed and, head back out for your ride. I love this stretch. Kittredge has a great little old school post office, and just a wonderful little mountain town, quaint, just friendly people, good vibe. And once we get out of town here, you're going to see, man, these are some great, really rugged mountain canyon stretch between Kittredge and Morrison and Red Rocks. It's just beautiful. And if you like, high rocky walls, this is a ride you should consider. You do have to be vigilant though. There's a lot of four-wheelers, and not all of them are considerate to the motorcyclists or the bicyclists. So there's that. But man, if you like some good twisties in a rugged mountain canyon with beautiful rock walls, this is a good place to be. And it's busy because it's a beautiful Saturday. We all want to get up into the mountains, so of course we're all up here. Yeah, good time though, as long as you're attentive, paying attention. That stretch between Morrison and Kittredge, this is a really fun ride. Yeah. As far as reliability, I just really haven't had many issues. It's just been a pleasure. I enjoy this one. As many Indian Chieftain and Roadmaster owners know, the Thunderstroke 111, it does run hot, and you do feel some heat. Now, I've got a separate video that you can just check out, but I'll just say real quickly, just get yourself some of that shiny double-sided reflective barrier. You can watch my video about how I just popped the seat off real quickly. Total time is about 30 minutes. Run to your local hardware store, spend $12, and you should be good to go. I'm riding comfortably with the double-sided reflective barrier insulation tucked down there. And also a nice little cutout piece beneath my Alaska Leathers sheepskin bud pad. And I'm riding comfortably on 92, 94 degree days. So as far as the heat management, just go ahead and check out my other video. I think it's a lot easier for some of us out here in the western states. I think if you're a guy riding in Texas or Florida with all that humidity, it's an issue, and so that's something to be mindful of. But I think you can certainly manage it if you just spend about 30 minutes getting some reflective barrier set up on your bike, and you should be totally good to go after that. And I think you'll be comfortable in the low 90s, no problem. But man, today this is perfect weather for an Indian Roadmaster. Low 70s, beautiful. And the cooler it gets, the more pleasurable this Roadmaster is to ride, because then you really start to appreciate that nice little bit of extra warmth you're getting from the Thunderstroke 111. So the cooler it gets, the more I love riding this. And my Chieftain and my Roadmaster come out more in the spring and fall, autumn, than they do the god-awful 98-degree weather and trying to get around the city in July or August. Pretty much screw that. So, Thunderstroke throws off some heat. That's a little bit of a negative. Really, very comfortable. Every passenger I've had on this, and mostly that's been my wife, but it's been a few other people too. Man, so comfortable. The ergonomic backrest is great for your passenger. You've got just phenomenal rider, driver, and passenger heated seats. You can control those separately, low setting and high setting for either passenger or rider. The heated grips are killer. They crank all the way up to 10, but I rarely need to. Really rarely need to turn these grips past a 4, maybe a 5 on a really chilly day. The floorboards are phenomenal, and also as far as heat management and some wind management, but mostly heat management. Guys who have this model or the Chieftain know, slide your boot or your foot way back towards, move your foot back. So instead of being up towards the highway pegs, move your foot back, all the way back on the floorboard, and that will dissipate a ton of your heat, because what it does is it adjusts your upper legs, your thighs, your inner thighs in such a way when you move your feet back on these big, beautiful, luxurious floorboards. What that does is manages a little bit of wind for you, but it also is great for heat management. And as you slide your feet back, a lot of guys who have this model will tell you that moving your feet back dissipates all the heat in less than 2 seconds. And that's a really nice feature. I don't know if that was intentional or if it's just a lucky, fortunate coincidence. But when your feet are up, all the way out forward on the highway pegs, highway bars, you tend to retain more heat there, coming up, hitting you in your crotch and your upper thigh. But then moving your feet back on these big, beautiful floorboards dissipates all the heat, and it just goes flying off to the side. You never feel it. So just give that a try, and I'd be interested to know if that's just because of my height at 6 feet tall, or if other riders have experienced that as well. Leave me a comment if you have also kind of noticed that with your Chieftain or Roadmaster. The adjustable windshield is amazing. It's so beautiful to have. Generally below 40 miles an hour, 45 miles per hour, I will have the windshield all the way down, and then I will raise it up for anything 45 miles per hour or above. As far as wind buffeting and wind management, it's very obvious that the people at, the guys at Indian in R&D and design, man, they put a lot of thought into this, and it must have spent a lot of time in the wind tunnel testing, because the wind management is superb on this Indian Roadmaster. Very little helmet buffeting, very little helmet vibration when I'm rolling down the interstate at 80 miles an hour. And keep in mind, the Rocky Mountains can be pretty unforgiving. We get some pretty wicked crosswinds, wind shear, wind gusts, and the weather here can change in a matter of 20 minutes. Temperatures can drop 30, 40, 50 degrees sometimes when there's a front moving in, and the winds can be pretty extreme. But man, this Indian Roadmaster just knifes its way through it beautifully. I would not recommend this bike for a beginner, a first-time rider. She is a big girl. I think maybe the Chieftain, if you've ridden one motorcycle previously and you maybe had only 1 or 2 bikes in your life, maybe the Chieftain might be doable. But honestly, I would never recommend the Roadmaster for a beginner, a new rider that doesn't have some good experience under their belt. It is a big, heavy bike, and it does take a bit of a seasoned, experienced rider. So there's that. But yeah, she's a big girl, but man, she moves beautifully and gracefully and with purpose, and just it's really everything you want from a top of the line, pretty deluxe touring long distance motorcycle, a coast to coast motorcycle. She just moves so beautifully, and may not be quite as refined as a Honda Goldwing F6B, or one of the other generations of Honda Goldwing. The Roadmaster and the Chieftain do not drive themselves, but that doesn't mean they're crude. It just means that it's a big American V-twin motorcycle, and it is a little bit different. But man, Indian did a great job. I am so impressed with the wind management on this. Whatever they did with their design of wind tunnels with this front fairing and windshield are just superb. Very little helmet vibration, very, very little wind buffeting, so no complaints there. Yeah, so that's really, just reliability. I'd have to go, for me, I'd have to say about a 9.5. 9.5, I just haven't had any problems. Suspension, 10. Comfort, 10. Design and the visual aesthetics, the great retro classic styling, 10. Very impressed. Very impressed with what the people at Indian did, and keep in mind, Indian was the inventor of the American air-cooled V-twin engine. They should know what they're doing by this point. So, man, Thunderstroke, amazing. 10. Definitely a 10 on this Thunderstroke 111. So impressed and so happy. Beautiful torque, plenty of power, and I have zero desire to spend $1,200 or $1,800 or $2,500 on a stage 1 this or a stage 2 that. I think that's just ridiculous. It's silly. When you're walking into a dealer and you're spending $25,000, $28,000, $32,000 on a motorcycle, that motorcycle needs to tick all of your boxes, and you should not have to, several months down the road, be dropping another $2,000 or $3,000 to kind of make it your own and get everything you want. For $25,000, that motorcycle had better have everything that ticks all of your boxes, and I really feel like the Indian Roadmaster certainly ticks all of mine. More than enough power. Beautiful torque that throws you back. You have to hang on good when you get on it and twist that throttle. Man, she'll give you plenty. So there's that. And yeah. All right, so we're coming up on Red Rocks Park and Amphitheater, where they have all the great concerts, and coming into Morrison, Colorado, and of course, on the weekends, man, it is packed here. So I think that's just about gonna do her. I'm not gonna keep babbling while I'm sitting in traffic waiting to get through Morrison. So hope you guys enjoyed the ride, and thanks so much for taking it with me. And yeah, hopefully you got something useful, something good out of this video. If nothing else, I hope you enjoyed the scenery. We got to do some beautiful rolling meadows, got to see some really quaint little mountain town, and got to see these really great rugged Rocky Mountain Canyon twisties and the rock walls, and some really vivid blue skies today. Man, it was just a beautiful day to be out riding. What a great day. So thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And I'll probably go a little bit deeper, a little bit more isolated into the Rocky Mountains for the next video. I think I'm going to do a bit more canyon back roads, and I'm going to get further in. I think I found a good ride up by up in Clear Creek County, so I think that's going to be my next one. I'll just take you guys a little bit deeper into the Rockies next time. Thanks. Hope you enjoyed it, and ride safe.